Linda and USG for helping us organize and promote this event, this week of events. Um, so since Brenda, I think you just started the recording, so I'm going to introduce it again. We are here for the Homeless Awareness Week student showcase on the theme of housing is a human right, put on by the USC Homelessness Initiative and undergraduate student government. And so if people are feeling ready, we can jump right in. Uh, do either of you have a preference on going first or second? No. Okay. Well, Chenchi, do you wanna go first?
Okay, sure. Hi,
And
everyone. Yeah, please.
oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, let's maybe introduce ourselves a little bit before we go in, like your name, pronouns, and what you're studying and what brought you here.
Okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Chen-Chi. I am a graduate student at Edinburgh studying global communications. The reason I'm here is because I am working in the Edinburgh agency, and we had the pleasure to help the USC Homelessness Initiative on promoting the Community Land Trust program. So I have a poem to share. Um, it's called Community Land Trust Together. So the poem is designed to convey the key elements of community land trust program in a concise but interesting form. So I'll start reading now. Community land trust together. Together we buy land. Together we build housing. Together we cap rising housing prices. Together we confront the plague of gentrification. With your help, the community lives safe and sound under proper roofs together. And that's it. Thank you.
That was lovely.
Thank you, Brenda.
Can you share with everyone your belief about housing as a human right?
Yeah, I do think so. I do think everyone has the right to live under proper roofs together. That's why I wrote in the poem. I think this is a basic human right.
And I just want to share that Chinchi's poem is going to be featured in our guide to community land trusts. It's going to be part of the initial dedication page.
Oh, that's a pleasure. Thank you. I'm so honored.
Brenda, for people who may not know what a community land trust is, do you want to explain that a little bit?
Okay. The community land trusts are one tool that communities can do together where land is purchased in a nonprofit organization, and then housing and other kinds of uses that are decided on by the community, the members who are part of it and who live in the area decide to use it for. And the cost is contained because the land cost, once they purchase it, doesn't rise anymore. It stays stable. And so that allows people to be able to purchase homes or to go in apartments that are located on that land, and able to have safe living spaces that are affordable, where the price doesn't keep going up. So it's a tool to fight gentrification, and it's a tool to bring communities together to support one another.
Thank you, Brenda, and thank you, Chenchi, for sharing your poem and your perspective and a little bit about you. We appreciate you coming and sharing. So next, we're going to hear from Gerline, or Girl. I'm sorry if you go by Girl.
No, it's all good. Hi, thank you so much, Jake, for inviting me to this, and nice to meet you, Brenda, and everyone. My name is Gerline. I also go by Girl as an artist, and I was in class with Jake, and I'm a social work graduate student. So I have two things for you today. One is, it's actually a song, but I don't have the music with me, so I'm gonna recite it as poetry as well. And it's a song that I wrote for a nonprofit called Good Karma LA, which works every single Wednesday. And they go deliver food out in Skid Row, and they're very committed and persistent and just amazing. So I wrote a song for them to help advertise. It's not released yet, but I'm just gonna recite it as a little bit of poetry. So we can start with that. So it's called Good Karma. You see them hot bodies on the floor, sizzling skin while your jacket's Dior. She said, "Sir, can I cop $1?" What are you gonna do? Good karma. We can all be friends. Yeah, that would be dope. We could help some people that need to get off that dope. If you wanna come with me, we can run up this slope. But what are you gonna do? Good karma. We only live once. That's the motto, YOLO. But if you do right, we're all gonna come back for sure. Send them a smile, 80 bits of love. It only might make a dent. If you hear me, clap once so I can hear you. Scream out the fire running deep within you. Give out love, hand out a hug, release anything you have the means to. Good karma. So that's typically sung, but I just want to recite that. And the next thing that I have is a song by Bibi Borelli. She's LA based actually, and she's from the DMV. I'm from Baltimore, so she also where I'm from, and she came out to LA. She writes for Rihanna. She's super cool, but the best part about her is that she stands for justice. And so the song is called Riot, one of my favorite songs, and I think you all will connect with it too. It's kind of just like talking about the time when you just feel like helpless, but you know that you're not gonna like sit and do nothing. And all of you here, I bet you're here because you care about people, you care about humanity, and you just like want to keep pushing. And so this is what that song is about. And it reminded me of this past summer during the BLM movement as well, which is, you know, still going on every single day, but just watching people protest and not sit down, it made me really excited to see that so many people do believe in good and justice. So it made me feel positive. So this is kind of my take on her song. Let me know if you can hear it. I'ma fight till the day that I die, yeah. Swear to God that I'll put that on my life, yeah. I'ma try my best to love forever to unite it. I'm a spice, baby, I'm a night, and I'm a clock, take off and fly, and if you want to stop me, you can keep on trying. If I leave, I'm not leaving in silence. You won't see me crying. You gon' see the fire in my eyes. If I go, then I'ma start a riot. I'm fighting for my life, yeah. I'ma give you everything tonight. If I leave, fist up till I stop breathing. Fist up till I stop breathing. Haters gone forever, haters for no freaking reason. I'm speeding, I'ma keep trying. I'm going, I'ma keep rising. Even though life tries to hurt me every time. And if I leave, then I'm not leaving in silence. You won't see me crying. No, you gon' see the fire in my eyes. If I go, then I'ma start a riot. I'm fighting for my life, yeah. I'ma give you everything tonight. If I live, thank you so much.
Can you also talk for just a minute, Gerline, about your thoughts about housing as a human right?
Yeah, I mean, I completely believe that housing is a human right. Jake actually spread a lot of knowledge about the homeless populations during my past class with him. And I learned a lot, especially by being in LA and seeing so many homeless people on the street. I think where I'm from in Maryland, it's not less common, but people view it differently. And they just see homeless people as people on the street and there's nothing you can do about it. But as I've moved to LA, I've learned that there are so many things that you can do about it, and people see people as people. And that's what I love about like the culture here. And that's what I want to bring back to the East Coast, because it's definitely different. But definitely believe housing is a human right. And thank you for doing all the work that you do.
Thank you, Gerline. We really appreciate you sharing. That was an awesome song and poem. I'm so glad we got to hear both. And as far as how housing is a human right, the LA City Council actually recently passed. I'm not sure what it's called, but they agreed on. Brenda might know. I don't know. I don't think it's like an official. It's a motion maybe that they agreed to, that housing is a human right, which is not an easy thing to pass in local government. And so while we still have a long way to go, just the fact that that passed, and I think it was very recently, within the last week or two, it is a step forward. But at the same time, one of the same members of that city council was organizing the mass eviction of unhoused community members in Echo Park just in the last 2 days. So it just shows that dichotomy that we have of, trying to make a difference, but at the same time, the same forces that are trying to make a difference are also the forces that we're trying to change. And so, yeah, thank you, Chenchi and Gerline, for both sharing. And Brenda, did you have anything you wanted to add? Oh, Gerline, do you have are you raising your hand, or are you just? Yeah, you want to say something? Go for it.
You're muted.
I have a question, if I could ask anyone who wants to answer. I just want to know like more information on what we can do, like just as individuals, to help the homeless populations without actually going into Skid Row, because I know a lot of people are really scared about the pandemic. And so just like little things that we can do maybe on a daily basis just to help, and just if you can spread more knowledge on what's going on this past week. I know you explained it briefly, but I would like to know a little bit more, or you could drop a link or something.
I can add one thing. There's different projects and there's different organizations that are using volunteers to help virtually at this point. And there's people who are homeless all throughout the county. So it's not just Skid Row. As Jake mentioned, there was a large encampment at Echo Park. There's different encampments in different places. So there's a variety of things you can do. One project that I particularly like that USC is involved with is a connection to the LA Arts Alliance, which is a group of arts organizations in Skid Row that when they had to shut down for the pandemic, their members didn't have any outlets. They do music and song and art. So they put together a project with art packets, and they work together to put the packets together and then to deliver them to people who sign up for them, who've been members of the different organizations. And we actually have a USC student who is helping to coordinate that project. And so there's various things that can be done. There's things like contacting organizations to give donations into the art packets. There's going to one central place and helping in a socially distanced way, of course, to put the packs together. So there are a variety of things in that. And a lot of organizations do have various kinds of remote projects. There's also some really interesting legislation happening right now. And in order to make some of the changes that we need to that can really make a difference, people have really looked at what's needed in terms of money, what's needed in terms of changes, the barriers of regulations, that can actually make a difference and make it easier to move things forward. And so there's a bunch of really important legislation. One that I know about because USC is directly involved with it is AB 369, which allows street medicine. And USC has a street medicine program, and it allows street medicine to be able to bill Medi-Cal so that we'd be able to expand the numbers of doctors who could actually go out on the streets and treat patients wherever they are. And I feel like that's a really important thing to be able to do. So that's an important piece of legislation. And there's another one, AB 71, which is a very broad effort to institutionalize and maintain funding at a very high level, because part of the reason we've gotten into the problem has to do with the fact that it's been neglected. We've neglected housing for a really long time. And so the funding that we have right now is going to sunset. So this would be a way to maintain funding and expand it to the level that would actually solve the problem more effectively. So that's another one, and there are others. So supporting legislation, contacting whatever is your favorite group, whether it's women and the Downtown Women's Center, whether it's the arts and the Arts Alliance. If you have any other particularly favorite programs or groups that you want to support, whether it's young people, we do a lot of work with the agencies that work with homeless youth, and we try to support the work that they do. We're, in fact, Jake, do you want to talk about the service project that we're doing as part of
that's what I was going to plug is we had a panel on Wednesday that was a youth talk panel with members of student orgs and members of the unhoused community. And the student orgs, so these are on campus at USC. One is called Water Drop LA, and they buy like a U-Haul full of water from Costco and distribute to anyone who needs it in the downtown Skid Row and surrounding areas. And then another group that was at our panel is Food Recovery Network, and they're a national organization that empowers local chapters at their school to kind of operate the way that best suits their school. So at USC, what they're doing is collecting old food that is going to be discarded from the cafeterias or mess halls on campus and redistributing it to people in need around the city. So if you want to get involved right on campus, Water Drop LA and Food Recovery Network are, I'm sure, going to be happy to have your support. And then the youth agencies that we talk to, one is Sanctuary of Hope, or the SOH, and one is SPY, which is
Safe Place for Youth.
Safe Place for Youth. Thank you. And something, so Safe Place for Youth actually has an Amazon wish list for some items that, well, both of these organizations focus on at-risk youth from the unhoused community. And so SPY is looking for some donations from their Amazon wish list, and we were going to send that around as part of a service drive event. And Sanctuary of Hope actually brought up a really interesting need that I hadn't thought of, that which is Uber and Lyft gift cards for their clients, because A lot of people, people live far away from where they work or where they need to check in with counselors or go seek services, and to be traveling all around the city when you already have limited income is very difficult. And our public transportation, especially later at night, as a young person by yourself, is not always the safest thing to be doing. So we're also trying to raise some Uber and Lyft gift cards for that partner org to give out to their members. I think, yeah. So that's what we talked about on Wednesday, and those are some resources you can get involved with. One other thing I wanted to bring up is that because Brenda mentioned legislation, so something that we did pass this past November that's a big deal is Measure J. I don't know how many people know about Measure J, but basically it gave the community access to a percentage of unrestricted funds. It's like I don't totally understand the but the numbers and how it all shakes out, but there is a large chunk of money that's unrestricted funding for the city of LA, and it doesn't always go to what the people want. So we passed this Measure J so that we could have a percentage of those funds that the people decide where it goes. And so this group Reimagine LA has been pushing for it, and they've already broken up and started committees focused on specific issues, and there is a homelessness committee. So if you want to look up Reimagine LA or Measure J and those planning committee meetings, you can sit in, listen, or raise questions, comments, concerns about how that money will be spent.
In terms of a service project, one of the things you could do if you wanted to help one of the youth serving organizations, for example, would be to send a notice either through Facebook or email to your network and give them all the information and the direct line to be able to make donations to those organizations. So that way you're kind of getting the word out and letting them know that this is something you care about and you would like to see your friends and family and colleagues, etc., be able to make a contribution. And sometimes that can go a long ways. I worked on one project where we were putting together hygiene kits, and one of the people on the committee was trying to get hygiene items for women who are on the streets that didn't have personal hygiene things. And so she did that with her network, and I couldn't believe how much they got. She got through just through sending it to her family and friends. They were all over everywhere, but they all made contributions. And we had more than enough materials to put in. I think we did 4,000 kits. So those are things you can do.
Yeah, yeah, something you're speaking to is the power of relationships. That's another thing that came up in our panel on Wednesday. Lots of times when you think of these big structural problems, it's very daunting. It's very scary, like you don't know where to begin. And what we all discussed on Wednesday was the power of just acting local and small things day to day, keeping extra water bottles or snacks in your car. And if you happen to drive by and see someone and ask if they need anything, you don't have to solve homelessness by yourself. you have friends, you have lots of organizations. And so the easiest way to get involved is starting local and building relationships and networks, because that's what it's all about, is community building.
I do want to also thank both of you, Gurleen and Chinchi, for participating in our art showcase, and let you know that you'll each be receiving a gift card as a prize for your participation and a certificate, because we really appreciate you making that contribution and sharing the beauty of your creation with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brenda. It's an honor to be here.
Really sweet. Thank you. The gift card is so unneeded, but thank you so much.
Is there anyone else in the audience that wants to share or wants to dance or sing or it feels so inspired? This is your time.
I know I'm not particularly talented, so I think I'm gonna pass on that, but I did want to add something else really quickly. So we actually put together like a little resource guide on organizations you can get involved with on campus. So the link to that document is right here, and we're gonna do our best to update it whenever something else arises that we feel like would be really important for students to know about. So yeah, definitely go ahead and check that out. There's contact points on there, and then also some information in regards to what these organizations do. So I highly recommend you check it out and find where your interests align in regards to the issue of homelessness.
Yeah, thank you, Shreya and USG, for helping us put that resource guide together and add it to your drive so it doesn't go away, because we will be adding stuff to it. All right. Well, if nobody has anything else they'd like to share, I think we can call it. Thank you again to Chenchi and Girl for contributing, and thank you Brenda and Shreya and Linda and USG for helping us put on this event. And thank you to anyone who is watching this recording at a later date. We really appreciate you too. And yeah, be on the lookout for emails for those service opportunities, and check out that Google link. And I think that's all I have. Happy Friday, happy weekend.
Thank you all. Be well.
Thank you for having me.